Hi, I'm Claudia Brown Coulter with Pivotal Peace. I'm your go-to mediator for navigating divorce while parenting children with special needs, and I'm also a legal document assistant LDA based in the greater Los Angeles area. Today, we're talking about that first mediation session. Like how can you prepare for that? People ask me all the time, well, what should I do for the first session? They usually ask that kind of late, like a day before or 10 minutes before. And at that point, it's like, don't worry, I got you. But it's not that way for you. So let's really talk about this first session. So before you even begin to mediate, these are some things I need you to think about. I need you to think about your financial documents. One of the things that I always tell people is it's really best to mediate after you've completed your financial disclosures. So if you really want to get into mediation, the best way to do that is to get that paperwork done first, because we need that paperwork to help you figure out child support and spousal support. It also comes into play with property division and asset division and debt division. So that's a really essential thing. So as you are contemplating divorce, begin to just put financial statements to the side so that when you're ready to sit down and complete your disclosures, you have everything at your fingertips. The other thing is to think about what you can live with and what you can't live without. Think about your parenting plan. As parents, it's natural and normal for us to never want to spend a day away from our children. But that's just not going to be the reality now that you're getting a divorce. And I know that once they go to college or they get a little bit older and they're in high school, they'll spend nights away. I know that you're not thinking, I just want my kid with me for the rest of their lives and my life. That's not what you're thinking. But it is hard to have your 2-year-old leave you, or your 7-year-old, or your 12-year-old. That's hard. So I need you to be prepared and think about that now. What type of parenting plans would work? Work for their needs, work for your former spouse's needs, work for your needs. How would that look? And begin to brainstorm some ideas. I've even had couples practice some. They've tried them for a month and then try different ones until they find one that really works for everyone. Then you want to think about some key legal issues. Actually it doesn't have to be legal issues. It's just some key issues. And here's what I mean. If you don't know what those key issues are, then what is keeping you up at night? If something's keeping you up at night, that is what you should bring to mediation. That is what you should talk about, because you will not be able to successfully negotiate if you're living in fear. If something is keeping you up at night, it's because you're worried about it. So really think about what those issues are so that they can be addressed in mediation. Then bring any relevant legal documents. Are there any previous court orders? Is there a prenup or a postnuptial agreement? Maybe even bring their IEP or the 504 plan, whatever, if it helps you guys have a knowledgeable conversation about the specific needs of your child. Bring those documents with you. And better yet, especially if it's virtual, send them to the mediator in advance so that he or she can have a copy. So let me set some expectations of what to expect in your first session. Granted, every mediator is different, but this is how I work, and I need you to know how I work. Mediation is facilitated negotiation. I am just a facilitator to help the conversation go between the two of you. I don't make decisions for you. I don't tell you what to do. Most people love that. Some people, it drives them crazy. But this is your divorce, remember? This is your decision. So I'll help guide, but I'm not a judge. I'm not going to rule between you. No mediator has that authority. No mediator. Even if they're a former judge, unless they're sitting in the role of an arbitrator, which is not a mediator, they don't have that authority. Let's talk about that first session, because after the first session, people usually, they know what to expect. My first session is I usually leave it up to you. One person in that couple has something pressing. They have something pressing. And I usually say, okay, what are we talking about first today? Because if they haven't told me, I need to know. It does it make sense for me to set the agenda and say, this is the order of things that must be discussed, and I do it with all of my couples, and this is the only right way to do it? No, I need you to be able to discuss something. And if I start listing things in order and telling you, you must do something this way, you might not be prepared to negotiate. Some people need to finish certain things before they switch to another topic. And other couples and other people can just go back and forth, and it doesn't matter to them. So you have to set that expectation, that first meeting, to say to your spouse, okay, this is what I really want to talk about, and then we can talk about other things. I will come up with a list, though. I can give you the list. You got to talk about your kids. You got to talk about support. You got to talk about your assets and debts. It's just the order that we do them in. Okay. And it's different for everyone. So be prepared of like, I really need to talk about this particular aspect of the parenting plan. Or I'm really concerned about this credit card debt and I'd like to figure out how we're going to address it. Or I don't think either one of us can afford to stay in the house. So we really need to have a conversation about when we're going to sell it, when we're going to put this on the market, how that's going to look, how the proceeds are going to be divided. So every divorce is unique, and you get to choose the path that you are taking to discuss these issues. So this first session, and all the sessions are about an hour long. And when I say about an hour long, you don't really want to go longer than that because it's emotionally draining for you. Sometimes things go over a couple of minutes, and that's absolutely okay. If you're in the middle of a conversation, in the middle of a sentence, progress is being made, I'm not going to be like, oh, we're getting into minute 61, you're out of time. No, we're going to finish our thoughts. We're going to kind of move and try to see if we can reach a settlement on something. It's not uncommon to finish your first session and not reach an agreement. Don't leave frustrated. Just know, okay, par for the course. This is what you do. Totally okay. Use my notes after you get them from the session. Use my notes to kind of reformulate a plan. It'll have all of the proposals listed. It'll have the other things that you still need to talk about on there. And then you can really strategize and think about it. And this brings me to my next point of, don't expect to be in mediation the very next day, or don't expect to do a 4-8 hour mediation. This isn't commercial mediation. This isn't a business. This isn't personal injury where someone was hurt. This is a marriage. This is a life you built together. This is not something you ever intended to happen. It is not business. This is life. These are lives we're talking about. So to power through it, if you power through this, you're probably going to make some mistakes. And it's very difficult to undo that divorce decree. So give it an hour, take really good care of yourself afterwards, and then come back and see me at the end of the week, or go through the weekend and see me the following week. I have found that when people can take a few days off in between mediation sessions, they're calmer. They've come up with more proposals. Sometimes they've thought about the proposal and decided, oh yeah, my spouse's proposal isn't that bad. I'm going to accept it. And it's like, what? Okay, you had your heels dug in last week. They thought about it. They changed their mind. So you need that time. Okay, and then we do as many sessions as it takes. One of the things I encourage you to do, especially if you have children, is to talk offline. If it's safe, if you're able to, and you share children. If you don't share children, but if you share kids, you have to learn how to communicate in the future. You're not going to have a mediator come around and be your referee the rest of your lives. So any agreements you can reach with your spouse now, even if they're really small agreements, you're building the foundation for a new relationship with your spouse, a co-parenting only relationship. So talk offline. See if you can reach any agreements together without outside help. So I said it already. Divorce is really emotional. These mediation sessions can get emotional. So let's talk about how you can prepare for the emotions. Your spouse knows how to push your buttons like no one else. I mean, maybe your siblings might might know it a little bit better than your spouse, but for the most part, your spouse knows every button to push, and they will, because they're mad. Or they just feel like, well, you deserve it. I'm just going to be mean. And there's nothing you can do about it. So don't take the bait. I know it's so hard. It's easier said than done. That's okay. Just do the best you can. As you practice and fail, you're going to fail less and less and less and less and less. And pretty soon, you're not going to fail at all. You're going to know how to manage when someone pushes your buttons. And if they don't get a rise out of you, they're going to stop. So one of the first things you need to do is focus on the kids. You are there to create a plan for them so that they can thrive going forward and they can have an ongoing relationship with both of their parents. So really focus in on the kids and even redirect the conversation, redirect the comments back to the kids. Because sometimes people get snarky. And that's the thing. People think that mediation is like kumbaya. We all get along. We love each other. We're just gonna, get divorced. We've moved on. Free love. It's not that. No, I can't stand your guts. That's the truth. F you. That is the truth. That is sometimes what mediation is like. That I do tell people to don't cuss out their spouse in mediation. Come to me and we can talk. And let's not do that to your spouse. But you can try to redirect. When they make snarky comments, redirect to the child. I'll help you do that too. But focus on your child and their needs. And then for your own emotions, take deep breaths. One of the things that happens in mediation is something called a caucus. And, right, like, why do we need fancy words? It even is a weird, is it fancy? I don't know. That's just a weird word, and I really hate saying it. It sounds stupid. Do people even know what that means? Let's caucus. Anyway, sometimes people just talk to me privately. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have you go to the waiting room. I'm going to talk to your spouse, and then we'll switch. Because I meet with you on Zoom. So then having a one-on-one with you where your spouse is not in the room, that really helps people calm down. When they're just talking to me, they don't have to look at their spouse. They don't have to hear him or her. They don't have to read the body language and the neck roll and the eye roll. They don't have to do any of that. They can just kind of let their guard down and speak because it's confidential. That is a great way to manage your emotions. Obviously, we should use I statements, not like I feel that you're ugly or I think you're a jerk. But it's about how you actually feel, right? But that's sometimes not real in a mediation. So if you get into the emotions of things, great, use it. But mediation really is to help you reach a deal. So your feelings kind of have to sidestep. You kind of have to sidestep your feelings and push them to the side so you can really focus on the deal. And this is why you should have a divorce coach or a therapist to really help you with those emotions. All right, so if you are considering a divorce, if you want to see if mediation can help you navigate this so that you can provide a softer landing for your children, reach out to me. I'm happy to chat with you and schedule a consultation. You guys have a great day.